Hi, I'm Dr. Kimberlee Mendoza, and this is another episode of Blue Fire Faith. And today, I've been reading through 1st and 2nd Samuel, and I hit this story that I've never really contemplated or thought about before, but I think it's really an important story to look at because it really talks about our faith and the cost of such faith. So David had been completely he had done something he shouldn't have done, and the Lord was going to punish him and even gave him a choice of what punishment he wanted. He had like 3 different choices, which I find interesting because he could do one that would be like a famine that lasted a really long time, or he could do something that was a shorter version. And I forget what the second one was, but the third one was like a 3-day a disease, and it would be over in 3 days, but a lot of people lost their lives. And that's actually the one that David chose. But he was asked to go and prepare an offering unto the Lord and to, basically for cleansing of his sins of what he had done. And when the man offered to give him anything to sacrifice he wanted, he could have the wood or the animals or whatever he wanted. He offered it up to David, and David said no. And this is what he said specifically in 2 Samuel 24:24. He said, "No, I insist on buying it, for I cannot present burnt offerings to the Lord my God that cost me nothing." And I found that really powerful because in America, it's not like overseas. Overseas in like communist China or whatever, it costs them everything to worship on a Sunday morning. My son went there on a missions trip not very long ago, and he said, everything is closed blinds, basement, quiet. Nobody talks about it. They have to sing really quietly. There's just like a lot of things that they have to do in order to worship God. And here in America, we freely are allowed to go into the worship and completely worship our God at any time. And it doesn't really cost us anything. We talk about the freedom of, salvation and how it costs us nothing. We don't have to do anything to earn it. That's all well and good. But at what point do we say, I can't give an offering unto the Lord that costs me nothing? When we bring our tithes and offerings to the Lord, does it affect us in any way, or is it just a drop in the bucket and it really cost us nothing? When I was a kid, I heard this one sermon where this missionary shared a story that he had experienced over in Russia. And I don't know if it's a true story or if it's just a story. I can't validate that one way or another. But he said that, over in Russia, a bunch of Christians were worshiping this back when Russia was still communist, and they were worshiping, and all of a sudden the KGB came in and with their guns, and they said, anybody who's a Christian, stay seated. If you're not a Christian, you can leave. And so a bunch of them got up and walked out the door, and then of course, the Christians are freaking out like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to us? And then the soldiers laid their guns down and said, now we can have church with the real Christians. And I just find that fascinating. If somebody were to walk into your sanctuary and say, if you are a Christian, you could die, are you willing to give up your life for your faith? Is the cost of your faith that much to you? Does it mean that much to you? Or is it just something you do on a Sunday morning? Because that's not true Blue Fire Faith. Blue Fire Faith is willing to give their whole life to Christ. And that faith is everything to us. That faith is what makes us get up in the morning and makes us live for Jesus. And so I just really wanted to talk about what that means to have that strong conviction, that strong faith that you're willing to give up. For instance, on this channel, if you go into some of my, earlier stuff, I'm asking you to give up, things in your life that maybe have become a crutch or an addiction in your life. I mean, I struggle with not eating dessert when my doctor tells me not to. There's TV shows that I've had to give up and stop watching, or music I've had to stop listening to. And the reality is what vices, what things in your life have become such a crutch or an addiction in your life that you are not willing to give those up for God? What does it cost you to be a Christian? It really should be everything, because full sacrifice, full body onto the altar. The Bible says to, lay down our cross and follow him, or pick up our cross. I'm sorry. I said that backwards. Pick up our cross and follow him, that we are supposed to, go with him, that we're supposed to give up everything. I mean, there's times in the New Testament where Jesus talked about, who are my mother and brothers, like give it all up. And, he doesn't take it all away from us. Anything we give up, he always gives back to us, 20-fold. So sacrifice in the kingdom is not this horrible thing, because we always find joy and peace on the other side of it. And we have to be willing to surrender our lives to him fully. And so are we like David, that I am not coming to the altar without giving up anything? It may be a free gift, but what are we doing at the end of that to say thank you for that free gift? Are we still holding back and not giving up anything, or are we actually presenting our gifts unto the Lord? And so that is my challenge for you today, as we always have. There's always a challenge. Toward Faith Challenge is, what are you giving back to the Lord? And that's it for me today. God bless you. If you like this, go ahead and like it down below. Subscribe, share it. That's how YouTube knows to keep showing content. All right, take care. Bye-bye.